Hello and welcome to the Gers TV. My name's Cy Leslie, and we've got Gordy Bond as well, and Lily's just decided to jump on the stage as well.
Can I just say that's probably the first time in 10 years you've ever said my surname on this show? It's
Aye,
usually just Gordy. I
aye,
feel
well,
as if I finally arrived.
disappointment, mate, in Poland tonight. We'll talk about it for about 10-15 minutes because I'm back on the breakfast show tomorrow talking about it. When I say disappointing, I'm speaking probably on behalf of most people at Gers TV when I say that when we've seen the lineup, it was it was incredible that Derek McInnes thought that lineup was good enough for a first team Rangers performance, and to go 45 minutes without changing it was very annoying to say the least. I can't understand what was going through his head. What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, just to mirror what you said and echo what you said, Simon, I don't really. It's hard. It's difficult to comprehend that you've got guys like Raskin and Devon on the bench, and he feels that Dan Neil's going to not only start the game but be the captain as well, which there has been 3 or 4 different captains in the last 3 or 4 weeks, which doesn't for me sit well because you have to have one leader. Well, you have to have team leaders, but you have to have that one person that's
Yeah.
delegated that for the season that the players look up to. And I just thought that, I mean, he went with obviously brought on the Japanese one for the debut as well, which seemed like a bit of panic to be honest as well. And just overall, yeah, I think it was a very strange. It was strange. It was a strange team selection. When you look at who's on the bench, and you look at Shankland on the bench, and you look at Devlin and Russell on the bench, and you look at the game. It was just for me. It was strange.
Yeah, well, so I'll start off with my opinion on it. The, we played for 45 minutes with no midfield. There was no midfield, and because of that, the Polish team basically they didn't have any pressure. They won the midfield battle, but there was no battle to be won. How Dan Neil, whoever identified Dan Neil as a football player to sign for Rangers, that's a serious concern. Who's identifying these players? First of all, he looks every bit a Sunderland player and not a Rangers player. But for him to start, he's played what 3 or 4 games in the friendlies and up to tonight, and he's no looked good in any of the games. For him to start ahead of Raskin, who played in the quarterfinals of the World Cup, tells me that there's something not right there. Now, before anybody jumps in and says, "Oh, it's a £16 million gamble" or anything, Nico Raskin plays for Rangers Football Club. We pay his wages. He's in the squad. We should be looking for him to play that game and start the game. He came on in the second half. We'll talk about that in a minute, but he proved that he should have been on it. Dan Neil's nowhere near good enough to play for Rangers. Fernandez, fanny's a bit far too much. If we get an offer in for him, we'd take it. I just can't. We can't do another season of the fanning about. We wouldn't be able to get the tower a visa and don't play him. McCrory at right back, he's half decent at right back, but he's not a wing back. There was no threat up front. Diamondi's a good player when you're winning, but when you're struggling and you need a bit of fight, you haven't got that. And Asgard doing those, I won't even call them tricks because tricks
Oh, it's not
when they go
tricks. Yeah.
when they come off was incredible. And for Derek McInnes to let the fans stomach that for 45 minutes was criminal to me, mate.
Yeah, once again, we were the very much the architects of our own downfall tonight.
Yeah,
We started off the first minute, McClure gave away a couple of a free kick and a shy shouldn't have, but apart from that, then we went in the game and we were the better team for the first 10 minutes. Got the goal, really good goal. Romans did really well down the left hand side. Great ball in, it caused panic at the back, and then the boys scores an own goal. So 1-0 up, and to be honest, at that point we're cruising
yeah.
because we started really well, but then Arteta's own downfall. For some reason at Rangers, we seem to think if we get a goal, no
We've done it
matter what
again.
the situation is, whether it's an equaliser or a winning goal, it's job done. And we sit back, we step off, and we allow teams back into the game. And the 2 goals that we lost in quick succession, I mean, the first one, it's painful to even discuss it because there was 2 boys. There was on the right hand side. Sorry, on the left hand side there was Romans and then the new boy for Japan. Sorry, the right hand side, Japan, the new boy for Japan and Sterling didn't block the shot. Daniel misses the header
Completely misses
to
it.
block it, and then you've got 2 defenders in the middle of the park, middle of the box who don't get anything on it, and they both go for it.
Yeah,
So there's one, two, three. There's 5 opportunities
to clear it.
to at least block it or clear it, as you say, mate. And they didn't take it. And then a few minutes later, we lose another goal. The keeper makes a great save, We let the ball come in, and Fernandez slips. The keeper, to be fair, makes a great save, and then McCrory, you can't really blame McCrory. McCrory reacted to try to get a slight tackle in. Unfortunately, he's not
Didn't
as
come off.
fast as the attacker, and then we're 2-1 down, and it's crazy. It's a crazy 5 minutes, but how many times over the course of the last 2 or 3 years has that happened?
Yeah, so first of all, very similar to the Dundee United game. The goal that we lost against Dundee United, and there, bad concentration, nothing else. Terrible professionalism. That's the big point I'll make, Gordy, because see when that happens once in a couple of years, you go like that's a bad mistake. See when it's happening in every big game, that's poor professionalism.
Correct.
And not to change that right into 45 minutes was incredible. When we went 1-0 up, we go and try and finish the game off. That's to me what you do, right? But what we done was we defaulted back into the Russell Martin team and the Danny Rowe last season and before. And Clermont. Now, if that was Russell Martin that led them out tonight, he would have been getting pelters for that. So I don't think McInnes, and I'm a McInnes fan, as you know, but McInnes can't get off lightly for that. And he can't use the excuse he needs players. We know he needs players, but you don't leave half your team on the bench for a game that you need to go out and try and at least not lose. If they'd have scored a third goal, we would have been out of the tournament, in my opinion. I genuinely believe that.
There wouldn't have been, and the worst thing is there wouldn't have been any surprise if they'd a third goal, because for long parts of for the last 20 minutes of the first half and for the first 10-15 minutes of the second half, they were by far the better team, and they were great. They didn't create a lot themselves.
They want to watch.
We were, for most of the game, the architects of one downfall, and how many times, not so much Romans, but the right hand side was Sterling, McCrory. For some reason, there was so much space available to them, and every time they want to counter attack, there was so much space. Fernandez slipped a couple of times. They missed a couple of settles. For all, I think we'll probably go in the second half in a minute.
Aye.
But for all the positives, the second half where we played better, they still had the better chances. They missed 2 settles at least, which came from our bad defending again.
I think we'll get into the second half in a second, but I think I would argue we probably had similar amount of chances in the second half because Curtis, I will speak about in a minute, was unlucky not to score. But your general point's right, Gordy. They looked better than us at the crucial parts in the game, and that's mainly because we didn't look dangerous for most of it. It looked like a pre-season friendly. It looked like some of these players have never met each other before, never played together. How long are we going to have a defence who don't understand each other? Outside Romans, who would you really keep in that defence right now?
It's hard to make a case for any of them, to be honest, mate. But I would go one further and say even if you go across midfield, you look at Demand and Asgard, and I don't like a lot of people mention this, but you go back to Friday night with Dundee United. I believe Asgard was actually originally at fault for their goal.
I remember it.
He made a very, very, very lackluster, lazy challenge in the middle of the park, and then tonight there was a couple of times where he doesn't track back and he lets. I don't know if they scored from it. It was either second goal or one of the chances they had. But a couple of times he just. I don't like to use this expression, but it's almost like they couldn't be asked.
We had no fight in the first half. We had no passion and we had no grit from anybody in the team. We played with no captain because nobody's going to tell me Dan Neil's a captain. He's no a Rangers player, never been a captain. We had no leaders.
McInnes has got reasons for it. I hope he does.
Well, we were told.
On the surface, it seems strange.
Well, we're buying into the idea that we're buying a team of captains. There was no captains on that first half. Change in the second half. The changes had to be made, and fair enough, they made them. I think they made the game should have been in the first 20 minutes. Changes that they made, in my opinion, made Rangers at least it gave us a midfield. First of all, it gave us a bit of rock, and it gave us something to build on. However, Shermiti wasn't great. Chukwueze, is that his name? I can't even. Do you know what I mean? Chukwueze was non-existent the first half. I'm glad he went off. I've spoken about Neil hopefully for the last time ever. And the young boy for Japan that we signed, I wouldn't criticise him too much because I think he's going to be the backup winger. It's a hard one to shout out.
Really, really strange that he's got Finlay Curtis on the bench and he throws in Yakonto, the Japanese boy.
Yeah.
Straight away. It seems to me as a panic.
And I've heard critics, Rangers supporters, and I've heard obviously Danny Rowe done this as well, where people are saying that that Finlay Curtis isn't mature enough and isn't ready to play for Rangers. Well, he was the best player on the park, and he only played for one half.
And he's by far the best player in the second half.
He should have got his equaliser. He never gave up, and he wasn't afraid to shoot a goal. And before I forget this, Gordy, for our club, not one person at our club can take a free kick or a corner. It's incredible.
And just go back to Finlay Curtis, right? With your set pieces, you're absolutely right, and you're absolutely right with Finlay Curtis. If you're Finlay Curtis, okay, and you love Rangers, but you're trying your heart out, and you know yourself, you're going to change. He changes every game he goes on.
Yeah.
How long is he going to sit on the bench for?
It's got to be a downer, especially
exactly.
he played well for Kilmarnock. He goes to the World Cup and he comes back, and he's dropped.
He's
And
won the World Cup as well when he got
Aye.
a game. He's come on against Dundee United, changed the game against Dundee United. He's come on, but he sees a signing coming from the German second division, getting thrown out of the park.
Aye.
For his debut, and he's left warm on the bench.
But
how long is he going to sit there and go, well, that's fine?
Aye, but back to the original point I was making with that, because I do agree with you, but I do think is that he was released of concerns. At least he gave it a good go, the young boy, and he's just signed for the club. But how many of these players that have let us down time and again, who last season, well, not even last season, week-wise against Dundee United, so that's a game over. Let's not play anymore, right? How many of these guys, like Sterling had a stinker the night, Asgard has played 2 good games and now he thinks he's a world beater with his pony tricks. Chukwueze, Diomande.
We've not even mentioned Diomande because I can't remember any.
Nothing.
I cannot remember a single moment in that game Diomande influenced the game.
And
he
yet
stays on for
we're still staying on with these guys.
He stays on for 70, 80 minutes. He stayed on for the full 90 minutes of Friday night. I cannot think of. I think if he did play in Robbins for the first goal. To be fair, I think that was I think that was Diomande's pass. But after that, for 85 minutes or 80 minutes, he was anonymous. And it was the same against Dundee United on Friday night. I think you said we were watching the game together. You said Diomande's kind of player if you're 2-0 up, 2-0 up, he's great.
Aye, he's a luxury player.
But
he's not a winner.
I just don't think he's the kind of guy you were on. And then
you could see the difference in the second half, right? Sorry for interrupting you, but you can see the difference in the second half. They bring on Cammy Devlin. Now, Cammy Devlin is now what you're going to class as a ball player and anything. He's a guy that boots arses, right? He done more in the first 2 minutes than Dan Neil has done in 4 weeks.
Yeah, and you can tell Cammy Devlin's
and he cares.
Yeah,
he cares
precisely. And I think just to reference a point from the end of the first half where this showed me that we don't have a team of captains or leaders, because if you remember going back to the end of the first half, there was an incident where our player got fouled. The referee gave a free kick.
Aye, I don't know. I don't understand what. And then a bounce up and then a free kick.
The Jagiellonia players surrounded the referee, got the referee to change it to a bounce up. The referee bounced the ball, went to the Rangers player. The
shouted at their player
to leave it. Then they ended up getting a free kick, and not one of our players. Their whole team stood the referee and got the referee to change.
Forced the decision.
Mind. Whereas not what. It was a horrific thing to see in football that the referee gets bullied into changing his mind. But not one of our players. One of our players goes up to the referee and questions it.
And around about the same time, I did say to you, there was a foul on Sterling, and everybody just got and walked away. It just doesn't matter. We don't want to claim for it. There's no passion.
What if they score for that free kick? Which happens in football.
So I would say the second half we were better, but when I say better, we were nowhere near good enough for what we expect for Rangers standards.
For criticising the team selection, to be fair to the manager, I think it was quite obvious we were missing in the centre of the park, and we were missing some dig, and he made the changes, and we did play better the second half. Yeah,
I mean, the argument right away is Raskin should have started the game. Without a doubt, he should have started the game, and if he shouldn't have started the game, he shouldn't have been on the bench, because he's a far more superior and dangerous player than anybody else on the park. In the midfield area.
Yeah, he's better than Diomande, Chukwueze, Dan Neil for a start.
Aye, well, probably all together. So the changes definitely changed the game, but we're at this point we're chasing the game, and I think it was quite warm over there, about 32 degrees, right? So, and I get that, and don't start me on this these breaks, these hydration breaks, however you want to call them. I'm laughing at my pal Ronnie texting me saying, what we're going to do in the Scottish winter, we're going to have hot breaks and hot drinks. Get it?
To be fair, the first half, I think it came out, I know we don't like them, but it came at a good time because we were falling apart at that point. So
yes and no, it came at a good time, and it gave McInnes a chance to change it, but did he?
I think he
shouted, but did he change it?
He didn't change it, but he gave us a rollicking, which that's why I used to respect Advocat, because I can remember a few times
Advocat would have changed it.
He changed it. He made thumbs up for 30 minutes, 35 minutes.
I'll never have a problem when a manager gets it wrong. See if he gets it wrong, he fixes it. But today, 45 minutes and continue with that, because if it went to 3-1, I think you'd agree with me, mate.
It was almost game over. It could have been game over.
Anyway, second half, back to that. I think you could argue that they were unlucky not to get a third goal. But Rangers should have finished the game on 2 each. And
Still, I'm not convinced about the attack, mate. I know it's horrible because Shanklin's a good player.
we need a proper winger, and so we need two things right away. We need a proper winger, and we need a box-to-box midfielder.
We need somebody, yeah.
But whilst we're waiting on the players, you can't. Whilst you've not got the players, that's a good reason to be angry, and a good reason to say, well, that's why we never won the game. But you can't then say, but I'll no bother playing my best players, and weaken the team even more.
You could play Rafton as a box-to-box midfielder. I mean, I'm sure Clement done it. Rafton's not the worst box-to-box midfielder.
We're probably 3 or 4 players short, if we're being 100% honest. I've been challenging for this title just now, because that team tonight had no fight for the first 45 minutes. We were wimps. We whimpered out the game. At least there was a bit of fight in the second half, but it was garbage. If we're being honest, it was pretty garbage.
Yeah, first half especially, and players like Asgard and Diomande are luxury players. And I've said it every game last season. Asgard comes on and has a game, and he has 2 bad games and a good game, and then he gets and Diomande gets selected every week. I don't know what these guys have to do to get dropped.
How many times can they let us down? And how many times can they fanny about and make similar mistakes?
Maybe because the manager's a football manager, he's seen that we're not. But there's something. There must be something. Like, because we're watching the game and we've got the luxury of having all the camera angles and whatnot.
Well,
is McInnes say something that we're not? Because are we wrong?
I did say at the start of the season I thought McInnes will make us hard to beat. I'll tell you what, he's made us hard to watch. And that's the God's honest truth. He's going to have to do something quick. Right, first of all, I can't judge anything on the African player, the big boy Tower. We've not seen him playing, right? But he's got to be better. Whatever Fernandez has believed he's in hype, Fernandez is doing this thing where he thinks he can jog. He's been fanning about the last season getting away with it, but this season he's not getting away with it. He's going to have to tighten that defence up quick, and he's going to have to figure out a way to start scoring goals, because we just don't look dangerous. I'm not too worried about the midfield if you play the right midfielders. Again, the Dan Neil one's just incredible that he's playing for our club. But Diamande, if somebody wants to take him off the books. There's so many players who just need to get ready. I get that. But we need a threat. We need a box-to-box midfielder. We need another winger, at least, probably 2 more wingers. And we need to tighten up the defence. And that's just to start us off.
We need something that can dribble. I'd say we need something that can maybe beat 1 or 2 players. Maybe go drive 20
a bit of panache.
Yards.
Aye.
And then have a shot.
The players are hard to find, Gordy. I get that, but we need to find one.
How many times in watching that game, and how many games last season in the game against Dundee United on Friday, when we were up and we picked the wrong pass? There's so many examples today where the guy was free in the right, the guy was free in the left, and we pick a pass to the most condensed area.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we didn't want to play. Was it McCrory was on the wing a few times, and we were saying, why don't we play the bottom?
And Yakonto, the Japanese signing, on the wing, and playing it through the middle.
Aye.
And it's like you've got 10 players there.
It really was poor. Now, another thing I'm thinking about now, I read this on the chat tonight, it wasn't my comment on it, but somebody said, why did we not get the players back quicker? Because that team looks as if they've never played together. There's too many players only up to scratch fitness wise. And do you know what? It's friendly. I'm not trying to diss them in any way, because they go to win and they deserve to win. But this is a team that Rangers should be beating. And if we do somehow manage to get through this I would imagine we'd get through the next round if we did, we're going to get a far higher quality team.
Yeah.
Okay, we should have a better quality by then, but we'll need to up our game big time. And I'm not convinced the game at Ibrox is going to be as easy as a lot of fans might think.
Yeah, and I hate to say this, but another 2 games we went back and no strikers have scored. I said that for the first 6 months of last season, our strikers barely scored last season.
I agree with that. Yeah.
It's another 2 games gone, and our strikers aren't scoring goals.
The 2 main things you need in the game: to score goals and not to lose goals. I'm not so concerned about how they're going to score at Ibrox. I'm concerned about how many mistakes we're going to go and give them, because we're going to make mistakes constantly all season until we tighten that defence up. And in terms of being up front, until the second half, Rangers didn't look dangerous, apart from the goal. Obviously, it was a good goal, but it was still a mistake for Shermiti. The back heel went the right way.
And just me a touch on it, like I'm getting so frustrated watching all our players
back heeling it, flicking it,
do flicks and back heels. It's like, no, stop that.
Simple football. Until you're see if you're at that level where you can do that. Right, Asgard is nowhere near good enough to be doing backflips and shit like that. Just make it simple. Give us a bit of fight, a bit of passion, and make the game easy. Football should be easy, and we're making it hard.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. not doing ourselves any favours, and Jagiellonia, most of us gave them our mistakes.
Yeah, I do can't
And
believe how
that's
lucky
it.
they were.
And it was the same on Friday night. I imagine it's probably the same on Sunday. I don't know what it is at the club right now, but there's something.
There's no spark whatsoever.
There's something at the club right now where there's a lack of motivation. There's, us McInnes will probably get it right, but the longer it goes, the harder it's going to be for this title, and the more pressure is going to be on him.
Well, first of all, he's going to have to fix the mentality. See this, because we seen it, we're watching it, we see it, we've got our chat, we're saying, why are they messing about in defence? Why are they no challenging? Why do they think it's so easy when it's no? The mentality issue is a big problem. And one of the reasons for that, Gordy, one of the reasons for, I don't know what happened there, one of the reasons for the mentality issue is the fact that if you keep playing losers, you're going to keep losing.
Well,
There's too many guys that have let us down too many times, and we keep relying on them. And for a game like that tonight, that was criminal to keep that 45 minutes to
here's
keep
the
that
thing,
team.
when the chips are down, backs against the wall, you're staring at defeat in Europe in the face. Here's a question for you: Can you rely on Diomande and Asgard?
He quite simply can. They're luxury players. He's going to have to change this quickly. He's going to have to. He's going to have to figure out his best defence right away. Godfrey's out for a few weeks. I'm not convinced with him to be fair, but it's early doors. He's going to have to get his defence sorted. He's going to have to make his at least have to beat a winning player. But make your best players that you got in the first half. Don't be start that again, because if anybody thinks that the Hibs game's going to be easy on Sunday, they'll have their backs against us now. Their backs up. It's no good enough, mate.
It's not, and it's a poor start to the season, and it slowly just ebbs away the enthusiasm and the confidence for the season. And we wanted a fast start to the season. Here we are, 2 games in.
We were much better in the second half, right? But that's only because we couldn't get much worse.
Yeah, it was the same against Dundee United. We came out the second half and we were reasonably better, reasonably okay, but you're only comparing that against a really poor half before.
Yeah, and a poor team. They're not a great team, but they deserved their win. I think they definitely deserved it. And they missed a kind of sitter as well. So no many plus points, but I did say last season, if people did argue with me, which is fine, that when I said Finlay Curtis was our best winger, and I keep getting told that he's not ready to play with Rangers, well, he's more danger than anybody else in the team.
So here's my point, mate, just quickly before we finish on whatnot, but it's not he's ready to play at Rangers, right? I think he's ready to play at Rangers. However, we're just putting a lot of pressure on him.
I agree with that. No, but we need to get...
We're making him a focal point.
We need to get a top quality winger, but we can't afford to do that now. Until we bring a top quality winger in, we need to play our best wingers. Again, I'll go back to Asgard. Asgard, 2 good games, right? But see, when we need a winner tonight, he's flicking the ball and hiding, and then he takes a huff and he goes off the park. He's lucky he lasted that long. There's too many players. I think there's too many players that Asgard will go to a lower league in England and he'll be a good player because there's no pressure on him. Diomande, again, similar. We need to get rid of the deadwood. We need to stop playing the deadwood. I don't know if McInnes was trying to make a point tonight. I don't get what he's doing. I like Derek McInnes, but whatever he's doing, it's going to cost him dearly, and he needs to fix it quick.
Yeah, because these American owners, they want European money and they want the prize money.
Not just that. 900 Rangers fans travelled to that game to watch that garbage in the first half. Yeah. To watch the same players that let us down last season, letting us down again.
And I think it was 7 in the players last season, so the spine of the team's still the same.
And the definition of madness. Anyway, mate, I'm back on at 7 tomorrow morning. I'll give you my thoughts when I get to clear my head. Well done to the Polish. They deserve to beat us. Derek, you'll need to get your finger out, mate. There's no excuses for that tonight. I don't care what MD says, there's no excuses. Why did we rush to get the visa? What was the point in rushing to get the visa? For the guy who doesn't even get on the park? I don't understand that. Will he play on Sunday? I don't know. Will we change the tactics? Will we change the team? I don't know. But we need consistency, and I mean consistency at a winning level, and that's going to have to happen quick, mate.
Very quick.
Anything else you want to add? I'm sorry if I'm ranting away, but
no, just
4 coffees a day and then watching that.
The sooner McInnes gets the first one, the better, because the longer it goes, the harder it is.
Correct, mate. Anyway, guys, have a good night. I'll see you all tomorrow again at 7 o'clock in the morning. But if you do get a chance, check out our website,
www.gerstv.co.uk, and also check out our Spotify channel as well. We've got some fantastic podcasts on there. So that's just go on Spotify and search the Gers TV. Good night, everyone. Thanks so much.